All right, good evening. Welcome to the August 22nd, 2022 meeting of the Marshfield Planning Board. The time is now 7:03 p.m. Tonight's meeting is being recorded by MCTV, and we're holding a live remote meeting via Zoom. Tonight's members here tonight are Katie O'Donnell, Nick Papastratis, Fred Monaco, Kevin Cantwell. I'm Mike Viviano, the chair, and our associate member is Scott DeCastro. Also with us tonight is Greg Guimont, our town planner. And Karen is not joining us tonight, Craig?
No, she's off.
Okay, and Karen is off. At this time, I'll make a motion to open tonight's public meeting and waive the reading of the notice. Is there a second?
Second, Katie O'Donnell. Aye, Katie O'Donnell.
Nick?
Nick Papastratis, aye.
Fred?
Fred Monaco, aye.
Kevin?
Kevin Cantwell, aye.
Scott?
Scott DeCastro, aye.
And Mike Viviano, aye. So tonight's meeting is open. And we are I'm going to make a motion for the first agenda item I'll make a motion. We open the continued public hearing for Birch Road. Is there a second?
Second, Katie O'Donnell. Aye, Katie O'Donnell.
Nick?
Nick Papastratis, aye.
Fred?
Fred Monaco, aye.
Kevin?
Kevin Cantwell, aye.
Scott?
Scott DeCastro, aye.
And Mike Viviano, aye. So we are here for Birch Road right now. Is that Greg? Are you doing that, or is someone here?
I believe Paul will be doing the presentation.
Yep. Paul Seaberg here from Grady Consulting.
Hey.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Good, thank you.
So I would just like to discuss what we submitted last based on revised plans here. At this time,
I made you a co-host so you can share the plans if you want.
Oh yeah, perfect. That'd be perfect. Can everybody see that okay?
It's coming up in a minute. Just says you started sharing it. There you go. We're on
There you
now.
go.
Okay, so since we met last, we submitted revised plans. Actually, this afternoon, I submitted some revised plans to Greg. That we've addressed all the comments from the review consultant as well as the town engineer. Those revisions are, we conducted some soils testing in the vicinity of the proposed infiltration system. Just to confirm that the soils were consistent with what we used in the drainage calculations, as well as we meet the required groundwater separation, which we do at 4 feet. We've also added droplet inlets at station 100 and also at station 250 as requested. At the end of that drainage swale that runs along the westerly part of the roadway, we are proposing a drainage inlet there as well, which is then routed to a proposed drain manhole at the corner of Upland Road and Birch Road. We've also added check dams along the drainage swale as well. There's 1, 2, 3 check dams that will slow the velocity of stormwater runoff that runs along the proposed swale there. In addition, we're also proposing a catch basin now at the corner of Upland Road and Birch Road, located here, as requested. And that primarily sums up all the revisions that we made. I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Okay, Greg, you want me to go to Pat?
Sure.
Okay. Pat, go ahead.
All right. Pat Brennan with Avery Engineers. Yeah, I've been discussing this project with Paul as well as Rod Procaccino, the town engineer. And this plan that you see in front of you now, that Paul revised today, we had a discussion this morning, it addresses all of the comments that Rod and I both had on the plan. So at this point, we're both, or I don't want to speak for Rod, but he did, I believe he sent an email to Greg saying that he was satisfied with the plan at this point.
Okay,
and I
thank
am
you.
as well.
Great, thank you. Greg, comments?
Paul, did you mention the drop inlet at the base?
Yes, I did. Yep,
With
right,
the
located right
down the down there.
Yeah. Yep.
So on my side, I had a resident in today asking questions, and it was before the plans had come in. I had mentioned to the applicant and Paul that my recommendation was to have them fully explain the changes, which they have explained the changes to the plans. And that my recommendation to the board was to continue the public hearing till the next meeting so you could vote on a decision. I think we're pretty much there, but I wanted the board members and the public to have time to look at the plans, which they did not have today. Rod Procaccino did walk up Birch Road this morning in the heavy rain. He said towards the top of the hill, there was a lot of water coming in off of Buttonwood. But by the time you got down to the base, it all had gone into the ground. There was no runoff onto Upland Street. He did mention that Buttonwood, that one of the two catch basins on Buttonwood is closed, but it was not closed by DPW action. It was closed by inaction, meaning that they had not continued to clean it out, etc. So one of the things that would need to happen is that catch basin would also have to be cleaned out. And he felt that the combination of the changes that they have discussed and that action, he felt much better about the proposal.
Okay, sounds good. Any comments from the board before I go to the public? I can't see everyone, so just speak up if you do want to say something.
I was just wondering, I know that the last time we talked about this was a little while ago. And Greg, I think that you had mentioned about staging, like how each lot was developed. I'm just trying to picture, I know that the grades in this area are really steep, and I know that we've had issues in other parts of town. And so I was just trying to picture how the process for this is going to look.
So at a previous meeting, I had suggested that perhaps one, if not two of the lots, not be all the trees removed and graded all at once, similar to what we have with another subdivision, but to leave some wooded areas. I have talked to the engineers, and what I forgot to say, my suggestion was running some silt sack lines down the property lines between lots 198A and B, where he's got the arrow, and tying it back up onto the right of way between lots 198B and C and lots 198C and 557B. And that way kind of breaking up, because you can see each of the lots has 10 to 12 feet of grading going on each of them. And that would help reduce on plan 4, it shows the proposed silt sacks, and they're at the bottom of the hill. And my recommendation was to have several layers as you go up the hill, but using the lot lines. So once they cut and grade everything and they start the development of the house lots, we have some additional erosion control.
Talking about the slopes
at the bottom of the hill, those are where the silt sacks are. If Paul, if you pull down the screen just a little more, they can see a cross section of that silt sack at the
Right.
bottom.
Okay.
So you're looking to make that a condition, Greg?
Depending on what I hear back from Paul, Rod, and Pat, I was just concerned because we do have, we have a drop of about 68 feet from the top of the site where the grading starts at 106 to the bottom of the hill where the road joins Upland, which is at elevation 40.
Yeah, it's just slightly elevated in the middle, though. Really, it's on the end so that we get the big drops, right?
The biggest drops are in that lot 557B and 198. Those two lots in particular have a lot of grading going on.
Okay.
So again, the engineers may say, hey, we can do this or do that, but my recommendation was to add some more erosion controls.
Yes, we're okay with adding some erosion controls between each lot, kind of in angular shape for each lot here as they come down.
Any other questions, Katie?
Just thinking about the slope and other ones that we've seen, just as I'm trying to, since this is all pretty heavily wooded right now, how does that slope compare to Adelaide? Does anybody know?
No, it's nothing. It's nothing compared to Adelaide.
It's much. I drove up there today, Mike, and it's not like Adelaide, but it's a good slope though. It's.
Well, I'm kind of curious. Once we take everything out, when the trees and everything come out.
Yeah, it's not like Adelaide at all, really. I mean, the portion by Upland Road that does go up quite a bit. You can see the contour lines there, and then it kind of flattens out, but does still rise throughout most of the project until you get down to the last lot, and then it's going back up a hill again. So it's steep, flatter, and then steep again. So it's nothing like Adelaide.
I mean, I guess and not it might not be like Adelaide, but I'm thinking of the backside of Holly Hill too, Chestnut Hill and other things that we've seen there.
Mm-hmm. Well, Katie, I think what you're talking about is the individual lot grading on Adelaide, not necessarily the road and the whole, picture.
Yeah.
I did notice that Upland Road is slightly steeper from elevation 40 to elevation 58 than this proposed road. And then Birch Road gets a little steeper, whereas Upland Road starts to flatten out. But then when you get up to the very top of Birch Road, it flattens out again. So there is one section of Birch Road, which is at 12.6, the grade, I believe, 12 and a half, which is its steepest piece. But this is a street improvement on a paper street that had already been laid out. So we really can't say no on the, right now the rules and regs for a subdivision is roads have to be at 10%.
Do we know if Grove Street and the corner of Grove and Upland floods in a storm event?
Grove and Upland. I think you mean
Elm.
Elm and Upland.
I'm sorry, Elm. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No, I don't think it does because I go by that all the time, even today. And that's on a little angle as well, so it all runs down pretty good there. There's no big puddles at the end.
Okay.
I think that's what part of my concern, sorry if I jumped over somebody, is I know earlier this year, I didn't drive down there this way today, but I know earlier this year, I did see heavy erosion on Elm Street from, not too far from this area. And so that's where part of my concern arises.
Yeah, further up where they did those two new houses, there was some up there, definitely. Yeah. I think Greg's idea of the silt socks can be conditioned in to help control it so nothing goes down into the road. Seems like the applicant has no issue doing that. So Greg, can we put that in as a condition?
Yep.
Okay. Anything else, Katie, or anyone else on the board?
Had somebody else started to talk when I was talking? I thought I might have heard.
I think it was somebody from the public. I'm going to go to them next. So if we have other questions afterward, we can go back to the board afterward.
Paul,
All
could you stop screen sharing for a second so we can see a full screen just in case one of the residents want to raise a hand or anything?
So
and you can raise your hand simply like this, or you could go to the reaction down at the bottom on the right. And when you click on that happy little smiley face, you'll see a bar right at the bottom that says raise hand. You could hit that as well if you'd like to speak.
Is there anyone here from the public looking to speak right now? All right, seeing none.
Nothing in chat either.
Okay. All right. Anything else from the board? Any other questions? If not, I think we can close it and then we can go to a decision next time. All right. Seeing no questions from the board, I'm going to make a motion that we close this public hearing and go to a decision at the next meeting. Greg, what's the next meeting for the decision?
It will be September 12th.
Okay. All right. So I made a motion to close tonight's public hearing. Is there a second?
Second, Katie O'Donnell. Aye, Katie O'Donnell.
Nick?
Nick Papastratus, aye.
Fred?
Fred Monaco, aye.
Kevin?
Kevin Cantwell, aye.
Scott?
Scott DeCastro, aye.
And Mike Viviano, aye. On September 12th, 22, we'll go to a decision. Greg will send it out to us beforehand. Next on the agenda will be
Thanks,
the
everyone.
lot. Thank you. Next will be a lot release for lots 21 and 22 in Enterprise Park, and it looks like Mike Verrocchi is here for this.
And Steve Gard.
And Steve Gard. We got both here.
Hey, hello everyone. How are we tonight?
Hi, how are you?
So this is the site, 51 Commerce Way, the site of the new New England Academy. It involves your subdivision lots 20 and 21, I think, right, Greg?
Yep.
Are the numbers right?
21 and 22. Sorry.
21 and 22. Sorry. And so the process has gone well. The Zoning Board of Appeals approved a special permit for the new school, and they've already begun clearing the lot with Andrew's permission. The building permit is almost, if it hasn't already issued, it's going to issue very shortly. They're looking to try to close on the lot on Wednesday, and this is one of the final loose ends that we have to clean up, is to get the subdivision covenant covenant released for you guys. Now, that having been said, the Rockies still own, I think it's well over 17 parcels, Mike Verrocchi, I think it is, and we estimate the value at in excess of $5 million of the remaining land to secure the commitment of the various subdivision certificates of action conditions.
Okay. Greg, any issues with releasing?
Oh, you know what, Mike? Let me interject. There is one issue that Greg's going to jump right on. I should have brought that out. So the traffic impact fee for this site is $68,670, I think, Greg. I might be off a little bit. $68,670. The proposal is, what we're asking the board to do tonight is to vote to, if they see fit, to vote to release the lot from the covenant with the condition that the traffic impact fee will be paid from the closing proceeds. So you vote to approve it. Somebody signs it, Greg holds it. I deliver a check to Greg on Thursday or Wednesday afternoon, and he gives me the covenant and I record it. So just like paying off a mortgage and getting a lien release for the mortgage.
Except we don't have a lien, so that's a little different.
Well, yeah, the covenant does act like a lien for you guys. You know what I mean? It's an encumbrance on the property that has to be released for the buyer to get good record marketable title for sure.
Sure.
So, but you're right, Mike. It's not a lien like a tax lien or something like that. No, it's a condition of the closing, condition of the title.
Greg, besides that issue or anything else with this?
There's a question for Bob on a town meeting action for a small portion of one of the lots. I believe it's lot 21.
22, Greg, sorry.
Was involved in the dog park, but we're leaving that to Bob. It was a gift, but it was for the dog park. The dog park is no longer there. So we're just checking to see if it has to go back to town meeting on that vote, because the town had voted to accept a small portion of land for the dog park.
Greg, if we vote in favor of this tonight, does everyone need to come in and sign this before Wednesday? Because you're trying to close on this Wednesday, Steve?
Yeah, that's the idea, Mike. If I get a vote tonight that you guys will sign it, I'm not the closing lawyer for the buyer, but I'm going to give him the opinion that I'm satisfied that we're going to get the release from you guys. It's just an administrative issue to get the document and get it recorded. So I wouldn't, if you can get in to sign it, great. If you can't, it's not, we're good. I'll make arrangements to deal with that.
So Mike, we only need 3 signatures. And I know I'll have Fred's signature tomorrow morning.
Okay. All right, so that's fine. Greg, what's your thoughts on letting them pay from the proceeds? Any issues with that?
No, I think the conditional for the traffic mitigation fund is fine.
Okay. Any comments or questions from the board?
So if we're still waiting to hear from Bob Galvin on this, would we condition it on town council's approval? Are we
Well,
waiting?
if town council comes back that this has to go to town meeting, then it either goes back to town meeting or VRT would work out some type of easement arrangement with the town of Marshfield. So
Yeah.
I'm not.
Okay,
worried.
but it wouldn't be linked to our decision.
It's not
Well-
linked to our decision, I don't think.
Yeah, so look, so you can rest, you can take comfort in knowing that that dog park donation was a voluntary donation. It wasn't a condition of the certificate of action for the covenant you are releasing. So it's a separate issue that has really nothing to do with this subdivision covenant, in the sense that the covenant is there to secure the applicant's commitment to finish the infrastructure so the town doesn't have to. So it's a separate issue, but it's an issue that we're certainly dealing with for sure. And we already had conversations with Mike Maresco, and he gave us the go-ahead that he said we're good to go, because we were there at the town meeting when they voted to move the dog park. And that's actually when we asked, are we all set with the land for the school? So we just need to get it, I guess specifically from Bob, but that's our position is it's separate from this, that it wasn't a condition or requirement to be a donation as a result of the subdivision process.
Yeah,
Right.
it's definitely a funny thing, right? Sorry. Speaking of dog parks.
Good deal.
Okay.
See, I think he might be objecting to this. The dog.
He's
Your
not,
dog
he's
might be
not a dog park
objecting to
kind of guy. No.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the board at all?
No.
All right,
Nope.
seeing none, I'll make a motion that we release lots 20 and 21 in Enterprise Park. Is there a second?
Additionally, on the 68,670.
Conditional upon the traffic mitigation fund being paid upon closing. Katie seconded again. Thank you. And, Nick
Capistratus, aye.
there you go. Fred,
Fred Monaco, aye.
Kevin,
Kevin Cantwell, aye.
and Mike Viviano, aye. That is approved 5-0. So that's all set. Thank you, Mike and Steve.
Thanks, folks.
Very
Appreciate it.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
guys.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, to Greg's board report, staff report.
So the selectmen, I believe I sent you this morning, the selectmen have sent out a letter on the proposed Mill Creek 40B development to the ZBA. I was asked by ZBA staff if the planning board was going to send a letter. I had sent some comments from staff and a revised sketch plan for Mill Creek to the ZBA, but they were wondering if the board wanted to send a letter similar to the select board. One problem is they were asking or hoping to have the letters all by tomorrow. They can go as far as the 25th on comment letters. So I didn't know if the board wanted to have me draft something and send it, or just leave it as staff comments that we've already sent out.
They would be due by when?
Well, they prefer tomorrow, but they could take it on Thursday.
Yeah.
I think that's their final deadline is Thursday.
Well, I guess if anyone has any comments they want to send in, it's a little late for us to all get together and draft something up. And
I was going to do the selectmen's letter. The majority of the selectmen's letter was based on the planning staff comments anyway. So I was just going to draft something similar to what the selectmen had drafted, just change the beginning of it and stuff if the board wanted. Again, it's not necessary. It was just, I was asked if the planning board wanted to submit anything on the 40B.
Hey, Craig, not to be redundant, right? But I know we had talked about the well at Rockwood. That's in there from someone else, like DPW or someone has put that in their comments, right?
Yep, and I believe they talked about it as well in this letter.
I saw someone had mentioned it, so that's all.
Yeah.
I put my soccer hat on for a second.
Yep.
So-
So we could add that if that's not in the selectman's letter.
Well, I don't want it. I mean, if other people have already put it in there, I mean, that's fine.
Okay,
I think I saw Ed Petchy and someone else had already mentioned it, so,
yes.
all right, no, that's fine then.
Katie?
Yeah, I think it would be good if we could send a letter of support. And I agree the water issue is a major one. And I also, at the economic development meeting last week, I thought it was kind of interesting, and maybe just to bolster our reports, like that Marshfield has done a lot involving affordable housing. And I thought it was interesting in the presentation that we had at our last meeting and at the economic development of how many more or higher percentage of like multifamily units Marshfield has compared to all surrounding towns. You know, I think that we were, what was it, like 18%, 19% multifamily, which is the significant number. And I thought that just, you know, was a good fact to kind of back up that, you know, the town has been committed to producing affordable housing. But, you know, particularly, you know, being able to provide water for our residents in the future is a major concern.
Okay, Greg, so you can draft up the official letter instead of just comments?
And I'll send it out to you guys so you can look it over before we submit it.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay?
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Anything else on there?
No, I'm still working with Karen. I want to get a kind of formal, short to the point PowerPoint and some maps on the 40B land calculations to have that ready as well. I am doing some research on the recent appeal of the Jedediah's Path subdivision for town council as well.
Was one actually filed?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I saw the email, but I didn't know if one was actually filed.
Yep. No, an appeal was filed by one of the residents.
Okay, one of the abutters right there.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And that's it for board on staff side. That's it.
Okay. Anything from any of the board members?
Nope.
No. Do we have any meeting minutes, Greg?
Yes, we do. I sent you out 7-11, which didn't have any corrections. And there was one minor correction on the 7:25 minutes on the back page. It just needed a T, the board, for the MAPC meeting.
Okay. So I'll make a motion so that we approve the minutes of 7/11/22 and the edited minutes of 7/25/22. Is there a second?
Second, Katie O'Donnell. Aye, Katie O'Donnell.
Nick?
Nick Papastratus, aye.
Fred?
Fred Monaco, aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Scott?
Scott DeCastro, aye.
And Mike Viviano, aye. Okay. Anything else from any board members? If not, we'll conclude. All right. Thanks a lot for being here. Thank you, Greg. I'll make a motion that we adjourn tonight's meeting. Is there a second?
Second, Katie O'Donnell. Aye, Katie O'Donnell.
Nick?
Nick Papastratus, aye.
Fred?
Fred Monaco, aye.
Kevin?
Kevin Cantwell, aye.
Scott?
Scott DeCastro, aye.
And Mike Viviano, aye. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Okay,
Good night.
night.
Okay.